Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. We're going to take a quick look at Quant. And just before we do, we typically look at Bitcoin, but I can summarize in the sense that it's just pretty much trending right around 66,500, kind of trying to figure out if it wants to break 67 or come back down to 66. Perfectly fine though. It's a good consolidation scenario. We need it to continue to do so in order for it to break out eventually. Now, before we look at this here, I do want to just kind of preface the fact that I actually love trading, and obviously, I mean, you've probably seen millions of charts by now from me. I really enjoy teaching too. So if you learn a thing or two here today, let me know. Comment below, of course. And obviously, check out my Telegram community. I have a Signal group / trading community that actually allow for people to come together and become better traders, right? We're all learning and growing together, and I share every single trade that I take. So be sure to check that out in your own time. Now, looking at Quant here, quickly go ahead and take a look at some of the important stuff, the traditional technical analysis, right? Then we'll dive into kind of some of the more Fibonacci retracement lines, kind of see what's going on here with Quant. But for right now, you can tell that the price just broke through the 50-day simple moving average. I think that might have occurred just a couple of hours ago, as a matter of fact. And it broke through the resistance level here, right around 294. Furthermore, we have the 200 moving on its way up. We have the price above 50 on the RSI. I love to see this. This is a very big deal because obviously before it's had some trouble staying above, breaking above and stay above. Now, granted, it's not permanent. We need to have a couple more days of trading to kind of make sure to double check to make sure that the RSI is actually holding at 50. But that's a very good sign because that's typically a resistance level. We also have a MACD convergence on the one-day chart here. Of course, that's pretty standard based on the fact that it's just been getting kind of beaten down and now it finally totally broke out. So great stuff there. All things considered here. Looking at the 4-hour chart, let's go ahead and kind of see what's going on here. In fact, why don't we just go ahead and get rid of the Fibonacci retracement for the moment and just kind of see here. Now, first of all, we can tell that this was a pretty big 4-hour candlestick. What is that? That's somewhere in the range of 30%. Yeah, so 30% in one 4-hour candlestick is quite a lot. And as you can see, it retraced and now it's trying to ramp back up again. But good news is it came down and bounced off the 200-day simple moving average, and it's effectively working its way back up. So it basically tells us that we should have a strong support level right around 285, just based on that simple fact that the price kind of bounced off of that, as well as the fact, look at this, the previous bounced off the 50-day simple moving average. So all good things there for the moving averages are kind of holding the price in place. And all we need to do is have the price kind of close above one of these support and resistance levels. We'll be just fine. I think at this point we should be all right, but we have roughly an hour or two left in the trading cycle, so we want to kind of wait for the one-day candlestick to close. That's my kind of reassurance that we're trending in the right direction, is waiting for the one-day candle. All right, so all in all, everything else looks good. Let's go ahead and move right on to the cloud, see where we're at. We obviously broke above the cloud here recently. That was just earlier today, right around 6 a.m. It's been up ever since. And if the price does end up trending sideways, we could see it work as a support eventually. For right now, though, let's take a quick look at TD sequential. Now we can see we got a bit of an over exhaustive state here. In other words, the price ramped up so fast, so quick after we had a 9 on TD sequential that we're basically in overtime. Now keep in mind, it was able to consolidate a decent amount right here. So it's not like this is terribly over exaggerated, but it is definitely on the high side, right? So, all in all, not terrible, not great, I guess you could say. I mean, definitely awesome the fact that the price is higher, right? That's a good thing if you're going long. But obviously, we want to make sure that if you take entry, it's not just going to come right back down on you, right? And based on what I see here so far, I don't think it will, just considering the big picture and the fact that it's above both moving averages. It might retrace some, but why don't we go ahead and take a look at some of the support and resistance lines too and see kind of where we're at with that. So let's go ahead and look at that first. Now, why don't we just go ahead and start with a clean slate here. And see what's going on. We can obviously see we got a strong support level here. That was a major resistance previously. We've got a new established support level here, right? Which kind of held strong recently at about 252. And what we do is we take Fibonacci, go ahead and work our way down here and see. Look at that. It's no coincidence that these lines are matching up perfectly on Fibonacci. And then what we want to do is we want to take a look also at some other support and resistance levels. Obviously, a very strong resistance at about 322. And we got a couple of others as well. Why don't we go ahead and mark the highest point? We'll focus on this for now. Because simply put, there's a couple of little small resistance channels up there, but the price is essentially needs to pass this here first. So we need to see the one-day candlestick close above 322 in order for that to become a new support. And you know what? Why don't we take a look? Let's go ahead and add this guy here as well, just to be on the safe side. So we know what kind of support level we have moving forward. in case the price were to come back down, because that's still a very, very strong likelihood. We don't necessarily know if it's just going to keep going up, but the good news is this candlestick, the wick, is higher than any previous, because as you can see, every single candlestick was closing lower every single time. So this does give us an opportunity to possibly be able to find some higher highs and higher lows, right? So that'd be an awesome sign. Now let's see if we can do this here. Yeah, 4-hour chart doesn't really tell us much in the ways of higher highs and higher lows. Looking at, of course, the 1-hour chart, we can kind of see that it's trying, but we need more sideways action before we can establish, those type of consistencies, right? So for lack of better terms, we look at the big picture here. Quant is definitely in a much better position. The fact that this price will likely close above 292 is a great sign. So I would recommend considering taking entry right around 293, somewhere in that range, and just making sure that you move your stop loss up. So obviously you got these two strong support levels here. Make sure that the support or your stop loss is somewhere in that range here, because we do have a nice strong support channel. And there's also obviously a resistance channel up here too. And I can mark that pretty quick and easy, where you can see the 1-day candlestick close, right? As well as the all-time high. Okay. So all in all, definitely good stuff here from Quant. I think that we're going to see a push to the upside. The last thing we wanted to kind of take a look at here, of course, is the potential here, right? So again, this pump happened in September 4th. So that's roughly 5 weeks ago, right? So 5 weeks ago, it pretty much ramped up all in the same day, and it took this long to retrace and to finally kind of come back up, right? So it took us about 5 weeks to work its way down, consolidate, and to increase. So hypothetically, 5 weeks from today, we will break this resistance, right? Or possibly even sooner, because it could be ready to go. It could be ready to play. That being said, as far as timeline is concerned, the fact that it took 5 weeks to retrace doesn't necessarily mean it's going to take 5 weeks to get to that resistance level, but it could imply that we're probably looking at about a month or two out before the price comes up to somewhere in the range of, like, just say 659, for example, because that would be the highest point in which we'll see in the relative near future, right? So hypothetically, in the next 5 weeks, we could see the price come up that high, right? Again, there's no guarantees in that, but that is a potential likelihood. I think it's more likely for Quant to break its all-time high now than it was before, based on the fact that we've had a nice period of consolidation. The price has essentially, kind of worked itself out. But the only thing that's concerning is that it does have these strong, candlesticks, and the wicks are much longer than the candlesticks themselves. So we need to see a couple more days of bullish momentum to kind of reiterate the fact that it's kind of past that state of just kind of trying and not succeeding, because it keeps getting, the price pumps up and it sells down about halfway every single time. So we really want to see some comfortable sideways action, some, I would say, another day of consolidation followed by an increase, consolidate, increase. We want to see a staircase pattern. And, if you're new to my channel, I'm a firm believer of, just making sure that, when a price is actually increasing like what you see here in a staircase pattern, kind of up over, it's going to have much more likelihood to stay high and continue higher instead of shooting up and then shooting down, right? We don't need that. We need to have a comfortable, smooth transition, if that makes sense. So hopefully you understand what I'm saying there. But yeah, again, big picture, I would say 659 is the best case scenario for the year end. That's a possibility. But we really need to start making higher highs and higher lows first. And it's too early to tell that, right? So we can take another look at this here in another week. If you could just, maybe request, I think, Jacob, if you could ask me to cover this again here in about a week or so, we can kind of see where we're at. Obviously, if it spikes up again tomorrow, I can cover it again. But generally speaking, I would like to keep an eye on this and kind of see how it performs in the next week. And then if we're making higher highs in the 4-hour charts, and then I think we're in good shape to continue to add to our position. And we got to break this resistance, though, right around 320. That's a big deal right there. Till the 1-day candlestick closed above 320, there is no reason to, I guess, go long, because it doesn't give us that confirmation that it's moving upwards yet. All right. So hopefully you found benefit here. If so, like and subscribe. Greatly appreciate that. Check out my Patreon community as well if you want to become a better trader. And obviously, follow some of the trades that I send out. I send out every single trade that I take to my community, and it's a one-click follow option too through Coinstats. Super cool situation. Check that out in your own time. But thank you so much for joining me here. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a great day. Take care.